Show Week 11. Boy, do we have a great slate of games this week. We're going to hit on some of the big ones that really matter this weekend, including, of course, Sanders' Dallas Cowboys taking on them Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to talk Bengals-Raiders. Packers-Vikings is a really interesting game. I'm hearing a lot of people think the Vikings are going to handily win this game. I think that is an interesting notion. We'll do Colts-Bills. Colts, I think, have a ton on the line today against the Bills, who suddenly have somebody breathing down their necks, and it's not who we thought it was going to be. We'll also talk Monday night, New York Giants versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But first things first, let's talk about what's going on in New England, because Bill Belichick has made all the right moves. This team was 1-4, and people were asking why he went out and got Matt Judon and spent all that money on the offense when this team clearly stinks. After this 25-0 win on Thursday night, Sander, it looks to me like the New England Patriots are a legitimate contender, not only for the AFC East and playing much better, obviously, than are the Buffalo Bills. That defense, I think, is championship caliber. Mac Jones is the man, as I've been saying for 2 years. How good is the Patriots?
I mean, they're every good as advertised, if not more dangerous, especially this time of the year. We all know this time of the year the Patriots play their best type of football. A lot of teams don't like going into New England this type of year because they know that crowd gets rowdy, that wind does get cold, and when you're facing on the sideline and you see that GOAT Bill Belichick, palms get sweaty, buttholes get tight. I'm just saying the Patriots right now are one of the scariest teams in the entire NFL. And it's just a full testament of how great Bill Belichick is as a head coach and GM, orchestrating, constructing this offense, this entire team, having like 9 defensive starters come back from COVID last year and all of them coming back this year. And, signing Judon, they understood that they got him at a cheaper price that they could have got him last year. So they went out and got him this year, and he's been paying dividends. I remember there was a few games where Judon is the legit reason why that defense was getting off the field a few drives. He's been that good for them. And yeah, Joe, they are legit. They're scary. The Patriots are as live as any top contender in the AFC because I'll keep it a stack with you. There's not a top team in the AFC that would want to go into New England right now and try and pull out a dub. It's very rare if it does happen. So I believe that the Patriots are very much live, especially with the remaining schedule. They have 2 games against the Bills that could be very much key to the division lead. They can handle their business. I believe they got Miami as well. So the Patriots could very well run the table or only lose once the rest of the way. And if that happens, look out, because New England is right back where everybody didn't want them to be, especially after Brady departed. Everybody was like, thank God, especially me, seeing 20 years of Patriots dominance. I was like, thank God Brady's gone. And I'm preparing myself for like at least another 10, 15 years of Patriots being in contention for the Super Bowl. It honestly, Joe, it's every Dallas Cowboys' worst nightmare because we've already gone 20 years without getting any success. Watching the New England Patriots win 6 Super Bowls. So now we have now we have the possibility of watching New England maybe win 4 or 5 in the next 15 years, because I believe Bill can do that. Bill has the ability to do that with this team. So yeah, I mean, it's just tough sailing for the rest of the NFL. The Patriots is everything that we thought they wouldn't be, and it's scary.
Riley, I started with Sander because earlier in the year, as I was praising young Mac Jones and talking about what I thought this guy could be and what I thought he could take the Patriots to. And again, I understand. I know that this is a very defensive-led team, but for this rookie to be out there playing like he does every week, Sander actually accused me of being a homer. And I had to explain to him that I'm neither a fan of the Patriots nor of the Tide, that this is just I saw something in this kid. I know you're seeing it now. Mac Jones, dude, how good is this guy? Can this rookie honestly lead this team all the way?
I mean, this year, look, he can help lead them, but clearly we're going to have to be a defense-first team and then offensively a run-first team. You know what I mean? I like Mac Jones, but I'm not ready to put all the weight on him. I'm not ready to be like, all right, kid, slap everybody behind, take us to the promised land. You know what I mean? I'm not ready to put all that faith on him. But I do think he can contribute. I do. I like him. I'm telling you, I really like him. Look, when I was hoping we would get Justin Fields. When we didn't get Justin Fields, I was like, you know what? If we get Mac Jones, he fits what we have. I'm not really gonna be mad. Week in and week out, this kid balls out. Then you got people saying Trevor Lawrence. Joe, I say this all the time. Trevor Lawrence is better than Mac Jones because he's got longer hair. Justin Fields is better because he look cool. Zach Wilson has that nifty headband, so he has to be better. Trey Lance, he's got 4 letters in his first name, so he's got to be better than Mac Jones. And it's all this stuff with the kid, and this is what I like about Mac Jones. He doesn't give a shit. He don't care. He's like, look, man, what do I got to do to win? Oh, I only got to throw the ball 2 times? Whatever. Oh, you want me to throw the ball a little? You want me to just hit? You want me to hit some dots with Kendrick Bourne? I heard it. Or you want me to make Nelson Aguilar look dependable? I got it. You feel me? Like we go weeks where we'll forget all about Hunter Henry. Oh, you want me to make him look like this was the Chargers? You got it. I love Mac Jones, but in terms of actually having him lead us to the promised land, he not on that level just yet. I do think we have a legitimate chance of winning the division. There's still some business we need to handle first. But even if we don't, I do think we could make the wild card team. And honestly, rookie year, having him make the wild card with the team we have now, that's a step in the right direction. It's a huge step in the right direction. It's definitely going to be a confidence booster for the kid. And honestly, Bill Belichick has found the guy, and now everything is clicking. Now that everything is clicking, it's looking good for them right now.
What makes me laugh the most is a lot of people tried to attribute this gentleman's success at Alabama last year to all the talent around him. And now he's surrounded by mediocre talent everywhere he looks. And like you said, Pride, he makes them look like superstars, man.
You're not allowed to talk about that. You're not allowed to talk about that.
He has like 2,000 yards. He has like 2,000 yards passing right now. He has a 77 completion percentage right now. The kid is on it right now. He really is. I mean, but I'm gonna also push back. I'm not gonna sit here and automatically, just because of the success that he's having, think that he's better than Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields. That's just I still don't believe that he's better than Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. I believe if you put Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields inside of this Patriots organization, you'll have similar, if not more, success. But I mean, Mac Jones is doing it right now. There's nothing. There's you really can't take away anything that he's done. He's shown that he's the most professional quarterback so far in the draft. And listen, Bill Belichick is going to put him in the right positions. I still firmly believe that if you were to put Mac Jones in Atlanta or in Chicago, you wouldn't be seeing the Mac Jones that you're seeing right now. So I still think that Mac Jones, between Trevor Lawrence and Fields, is the number 3 guy. I do believe he's better than Lance for sure. But, that's just how the cards fell. He fell in the perfect spot. And, Joe, I'm not saying that the only reason Mac Jones is doing this good is because he's in New England. But I will say this. Mac Jones is not doing this good if he's in Chicago with Matt Nagy, and that's 100%.
Well, let's be fair. I don't know that anybody could be successful in Chicago with Matt Nagy.
Trubisky
I really
Trubisky
don't.
Was.
Well,
Trubisky
and
was.
listen,
He went to
you have no idea what
Sander,
because that was a defense-led team. He barely threw the ball.
He still has success. And Mac Jones is on a defense team, and he
him.
still has
that
success.
Was
what are you talking about?
They were led defensively.
What are you talking about? Mac Jones is having the same success. He's having the same success on a defensive team, bro.
All right.
He's having the same success on a defensive team, bro.
Listen.
Look up at the screen.
Top.
Smoking.
Stop. All right, listen. I have to say, I pointed out many a times that Mitchell Trubisky's record in this league is far superior to that of Deshaun Watson. And so when people start talking about what a top 5 quarterback that guy is over the last couple of years, I'm like, well, no. sometimes we confuse things here. Sometimes we confuse a guy's talent, a guy's ability, or what a guy did last year to decide how good he is. I would tell you right now, again, looking at what Mac Jones has in New England around him, not just on the offensive end, I don't know that Trevor Lawrence has any lack of offensive options either. He's dealing with a similar thing. Not as good an offensive line, obviously, as in New England, but he's got guys he can get the ball to, and he struggled with that. And here's the thing about Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields, and anybody, for that matter, anybody in the NFL, with the exception, I think, of Matthew Stafford, nobody completes higher percentage of passes than Mac Jones. This guy's accuracy, to me, really is something else. And again, now that you're watching this guy throw to mediocre receivers and mediocre tight ends, you could see the window that this guy can hit, and that's super important. So whether he's not more talented than Justin Fields, and he's not a better passer and a better athlete than Trevor Lawrence, but I don't know that those guys would necessarily be enjoying Mac's success if they were in a similar situation, because I don't know that those guys, in addition to the accuracy, the way this guy is able to read his progressions, he's on another level. He's in there playing like he's been in the league for 5 years. And all these other rookie quarterbacks, and I feel terrible for Justin Fields. That's the worst thing that happened to him was he had to go to Chicago, because that is just not a good place for him at all. Matt Nagy should have been fired last year. Why he's even still in the NFL is beyond me. If we figured Adam Gase doesn't belong in the NFL anymore, who decided Matt Nagy should stay? He's mishandled that every which way he possibly could. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten that kid killed yet. But I don't think if you put Justin Fields in New England that he'd be playing as well as Mac Jones. And I'll say this:
with McDaniels as his OC, with McDaniels,
this guy's got Mac Jones has, and the reason why Mac Jones beat out Cam Newton, it had nothing to do with vaccinations. If you think Bill Belichick cares about that kind of thing, you got another thing coming. As soon as Mac Jones had this offense down, because again, this kid's got things that you can't teach. You can't teach accuracy. You either have that ability or you don't. Okay, it's why some guys cut it in the league and some guys don't. The IQ on Mac Jones is off the charts. He's a really smart guy. And that's not to say Justin Fields isn't smart, or they're smart guys, not as smart as Mac Jones. Okay? So, again, we're never going to ask Mac Jones to do the things we want Lawrence and Fields to do. They're going to be different kinds of quarterbacks. But again, this would be like comparing Michael Vick to Tom Brady. Who's the better quarterback? It depends on what we're talking about here. Michael Vick had seasons that rushing the ball that I'm sure Tom Brady in his entire 24-year career hasn't. The whole sum total doesn't even reach that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So talking about ability and skill is one thing. Talking about W's and L's, which at the end of the day, what this league is all about, I agree with you, Sander. Mitchell Trubisky was getting the job done in an offense where
4,000 yards, though.
In an offense, right? But in an offense where, Pride, I would say this: to me, it's similar to Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is not going to throw for 4,000 yards and 35 touchdowns. It's never going to happen. His job is always going to be to get the ball to Saquon Barkley. That's what the offense is built around. If he can win if Daniel Jones can win games, Daniel Jones will be fine. It's the winning part that makes the difference. Now, nothing Mitchell Trubisky ever did help that team in the postseason.
No, it was
and so that's where again. But you could make this. You can make the same argument about about Lamar Jackson. I can make the same argument. Great regular season guy, gets him there every year, drops bombs in the playoffs.
I've been saying that.
The difference between Trubisky and Jackson is we see the potential in Jackson.
100%.
That's the only difference.
No, 100%. There's potential. There's potential. No, but again, at the end of the day, I mean, look, I'm just not even gonna waste my breath with the whole Mitchell Trubisky thing, because if anyone thinks Mitchell Trubisky had anything to do with that 12-4, you did not watch anything. That clearly was a defensive-led team. He threw for over 20 touchdowns one time. Then after that, he went back going downhill. Then they got rid of him.
But he won games. He won games. That's the
For
point
that
of
one year,
this
though.
league.
For that 1 year. That 1 year where they had a phenomenal defense, might I add. It was a top tier. It was a top 3 defense in the league.
Isn't that what Mac Jones has right now?
As soon as that defense started to dip, all of a sudden the game got too hard for him.
He just made our point. Listen,
yeah,
I
know.
Hold on.
All right, thank you.
We don't need to argue about the 2020 Bears. I don't. That's a lost cause. It really is. Let's do this, because I want to talk Bills Colts in a minute, because I think the Bills are in big trouble here anyway, and I think if the Colts don't win today, they're even worse trouble than the Bills would be. Why don't we check out your team profile? You broke down these New England Patriots. Let's check that out, and then we'll see what everyone else has to deal with.
Well, I mean, I had to. Joking. Yeah, there we go.
Yep.
Yours truly, and I'm going to be talking about the greatest organization to ever be established. Told you I was led by the greatest.
Let me throw up now.
The former home of the greatest quarterback to ever grace. Brady. He's not a father. He's not senior. Junior. The New England Patriots. Now, it started off rough. It wasn't really looking good for the New England Patriots. A lot of people even questioned if they were even going to make the wild card game, right? But now they're kind of starting to click. 2 dominating wins back to back. So, of course, we're going to break it down. Now, defensively, the Patriots are the second best defensive team in the NFL. They're first in points allowed, 4th in sacks, 1st in interceptions, 2nd in overall turnovers. So this is a team that is great defensively. Even though we had traded Stephon Gilmore, a lot of people thought this defense was going to fall off. However, it's almost as if it's the opposite. We have had multiple guys step up. Obviously, Matthew Judon has been having a career year. Right now, he has a career high in sacks at 10.5 so far. J.C. Jackson has been holding it down. He's been picking it up, and he's now kind of trying to solidify himself as the number 1 quarterback and the New England Patriots. Jalen Mills, after having a very suspect tenure with Philadelphia, has come to New England and he's picked it up a little bit. He's been better than people have projected him, so on and so on. This defense is something that's respected, and frankly, is what leading this team. Now, offensively, the Patriots, they're a bottom tier team. They're tied for 25th. When it really comes to it, they are a rushing first team. They are 6th in rushing yards, 2nd in rushing attempts, and they're 5th in rushing touchdowns. In terms of passing yards, they're actually ranked 6th. So even though this team, for the most part, a lot of people have been questioning whether or not this team could throw the ball, they're being very opportune with it. When they have the opportunity to throw the ball, they do. But they obviously run first. They want to run the ball. They want to pound it into their opponent, and that's how it's been working out for them. And that's something you definitely have to take into consideration. Mac Jones is a young quarterback. Obviously, him in his rookie year, this kid has all the intangibles. Now, a lot of people are saying, he's not Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is better because he has longer hair. Justin Fields looks a little cooler, so he's better. Zach Wilson has a cool headband, so he's better than Mac Jones. But in between all of that, Mac Jones has just went out, done what he was supposed to do, gotten the win, and moved on with his life. And that is what they needed Mac Jones to do. Mac Jones went to the perfect system. Obviously, Kenneth Osborne has this nice connection. So same with Aguilar. But offensively, I like it. The 2 tight ends that they're using, Jonathan Smith and Hunter Henry, there's times where they're highlights, and other times they're kind of afterthought. But clearly, it all really comes down to the running backs. People thought they were really struggling in terms of the running back position after trading. So Michelle Damien Harris has been holding it down, and Stevenson, he ended up, he's also kind of doing his thing. Again, this team, I like, top to bottom. Right now, they're second in the AFC East, and they do have the opportunity to end up playing to win the division. The Patriots right now, they're in line to make the wild card, and if things go their way, if they beat the Buffalo Bills twice, which we host one and then we go to Buffalo, potentially could win. But right now the New England Patriots are clicking at the right time. They are making sure they win their games when they need to. Again, they started off, they picked it up, and the way they're playing and the way things are going, these guys are definitely going to be the fight. That's a spotlight for me. It's going to be the New England Patriots. On my podcast, Prideful Takes podcast, I go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6. I go live on Facebook and YouTube, and then you can also catch the show immediately after on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. The New England Patriots, they're clicking at the right time, and hopefully they can make some noise in the playoffs.
Well, thank you for that, Pride. And now let's talk about the team who seemingly had this division locked up. Nobody expected the Dolphins to be terrible. The question was whether New England could be competitive at all. We knew the Jets were going to stink. It looked like this was the Bills for the taking. They've had some games where, my goodness, they've blown their opponents out. But the last few games, especially, this team, hard to explain. A team that's second in the league in scoring with 280 points has under-delivered on offense. Pride, what's going on with Josh Allen and company?
I've been saying this for about 3 weeks now. They love to pass the ball, and it's adorable, and it works, and it's flashy and whatnot, until there's times you need to run the ball, and all of a sudden your running backs, who are good running backs, and I like them, but they're rhythm backs, and they need their touches so they can get their momentum going. If all of a sudden you're giving them a couple touches here and there, what do you expect from them? And that's really what's going on. There are times where instead of trying to run and gun and all this stuff, they just need to relax, control the clock, move, just have a hold of the game. They're not doing it. For instance, with the Jags, if they were smart, the passing game wasn't working. They should have let's change the game plan. They did it, and that's kind of the problem that the Bills are having. They are live and die by the throwing. And I listen, watching it, it's nice. I like it. I like watching it. Again, I'm not a Bills fan, so frankly, I don't give a matter of fact, keep throwing the ball, lose more, I don't care. But at the end of the day, they're struggling because they just don't want to run the ball. They have players to run the ball, so I don't understand what it is. They have a solid defense, so I like their defense. The defense is holding it down, so it's not like they're getting exposed. But it all really comes down to that one thing: running the ball. And honestly, I feel like once they do that, they're gonna elevate themselves to a whole different level. That frankly, I don't know if anyone can really catch up to them because they have the defense, they have the number one receiver, they have a decent tight end in Dawson Knox, they have the quarterback, they do have the running backs in Zach Moss and Devin Singletary, but they just don't utilize them. Well, I can't say they don't utilize them because they utilize them a lot in the pass game. I'm talking about actually running the football. Like running the football, that's what they need to do. Hopefully they can do that, because they still have some time to get into the swing of things in terms of running the ball. That's really the only knock on them. Other than that, they're almost a complete team. If they could run the ball statistically or consistently, I feel like they'll be back on track. But to me, that's the biggest red flag for me.
All three of the Bills' losses have been by 7 points or less. And they've lacked that ability late in games, Sander, to come back. And I've had a problem with Singletary and Moss going back to probably about week 15 last year. I feel like for two guys, especially guys that are pretty highly valued in fantasy, these guys tend to never, ever deliver. And to me, I think that's where – it shocks me that this team hasn't addressed that in any way, shape, or form and continues to stick to these two guys.
Well, Joe, I mean, it's quite frankly their defense. I mean, they really haven't had to address it because their defense has been so dominant. There's only been only twice this season have teams scored over 20, and I believe only 3 times they've lost. And once they didn't score over 10 points. It was that 9-6 loss to the Jaguars. So this defense has been very, very dominant for the Bills to the point where they can air it out. They can shut teams out. They could be up 21-0 on teams and just straight blow teams out of the water, besides not having a running game. There is a team on the NFC side that has both sides of the ball covered: defense, offense, running game, passing game, the Dallas Cowboys. But we're not going to talk about that. But listen.
We are going to talk about them just actually next.
Later. We're going to talk about them later. We're going to talk about later. We want to talk about complete team. We'll talk about that later. But the Bills, their key for this game is their defense continuing to be legit as it's been all season. The Colts really only have a run game with Taylor, who leads the league in rushing. He finally overtook Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry's been out for like 2-3 weeks already. So he just managed to pass Henry in rushing yards. But also, the Colts have had Carson Wentz playing to a high level. He hasn't turned the ball over a lot this year. I think he only has 3 picks. He's been playing a lot well so far. The Colts have been, they've been getting into their groove, but they're facing a Bills team right now who's really has all the pressure because, like you said earlier, they got a team that's nipping at their heels who they did not expect like 3 weeks ago when they were 1-4. They thought that they were going to run away, but slowly but surely the Patriots are creeping up, and the Bills have the chance to lose this division if they don't get back on track and get back to what's been so dominant for them this run. They are only 6-3, but like I said, their defense has been dominating. I think they're the only team in the NFL with not 1 but 2 shutouts. And granted, it was against the Texans, it was against Miami, but holding a team to 0 points in the NFL is almost impossible to do. So I think the Bills got this as long as, Josh Allen can, gets back on track. Their run game is suspect, but when you have that defense that they have that can get them back on the field, 3 and outs, I think they're top 3 in the league in turnover on downs. They do not let you get past. If you're on 3rd down, just bring out the punt team because you're going to punt on 4th down with the Bills defense. They are legit. They got Ed Oliver as defensive tackle, wreaking havoc on defense. I think the Bills will win this game 27-17, and that's mostly because what the Colts do well, and yes, they added another dimension. Pittman has evolved into like a top receiver for them. He's definitely becoming that new young great receiver for the Colts. But I just think the Bills defense is too much. That secondary led by Tre'Davious White, I think he'll lock down Pittman. And now that defensive front 7 will be able to hold Taylor to a low game. I think the Bills will win this game convincingly.
The Colts started this season off 1-4. They've won 4 out of 5. And the reason I say this game is so important, they're 0-5 against teams that made the postseason last year. They need a win today, so they don't drop to 5-6, and literally no chance at the division at this point. They need a quality win over a legitimate team just for their own sake. So that's why, to me, this is so important for the Colts. 2 losses in overtime. They've been blown out in for this season in the fourth quarter, 96-62. That is a 34-point differential, and it's the reason why this team is sitting where it is. Pride, I don't think this team can lose a game here today. I think dropping to 5-6, if some teams win today, boy, the climb out of this hole is going to be a challenge. You're still only going to be a couple of games out, but again, you're going to have to catapult now 4 teams.
Yeah, I mean, because even if you said, let's go by the assumption that they lose to the Bills. They got the Bucs, Texans, Patriots, Cardinals, Raiders, and Jags. So it's kind of like
that's rough.
There's some solid games. There's some winnable, like the Patriots, that would be a winnable game for them. The Jags, they should not be losing to the Jags or the Texans. So you got 2 games you should win. One in the Patriots, that's a maybe. And then you got, maybe you could throw in the Raiders as another maybe. And then you got the Bucs and the Cardinals. Like, to me, the Bucs and Cardinals, that's a loss. To me. Like, the way that I think that's a loss. And now if you look at the rest of them, it's kind of like, I don't want to be that guy, but they're low-key fucked if they lose, if we're going to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of, like, being able to make it to, like, because, again, I did not think this team was going to win the division. And I don't even think they believed it themselves. I think their goal was the wild card. That's what I genuinely believe. Especially after that rough start. There's no way you're telling me they were looking in the mirror and saying, you know what? We still got the division. There's no way you're going to tell me that they actually believe that. So, like, looking at it, it's for the wild card. And even then, like you said, it's going to be close. It really is going to be close. That extra game might end up helping teams like them that kind of need that extra game to end up being in the wild card. But I mean, look, a loss here. I'll be honest with you, Joe. I don't even care if they lose to the Bills. I really don't. I'll be honest with you, because I just, the way they've been playing, I don't even think they're gonna make the wild card. Period. No, honestly, I don't. Regardless if it's a win or lose here, I don't know if they'll make it. I really don't know, because like I said, there's two maybes in the Patriots and Raiders, and then there's two teams that I don't think they're gonna beat at all in the Bucs and Colts. That's like 4 games out of 6 that they're gonna have to sweat their asses off to get the win. They're gonna have to sweat real hard, and I mean, doing it for a game or two back to back, sure, maybe, but they got it goes like, especially like the heart of it, it's Patriots, Colts, then Raiders. 3 games in a row, they're gonna have to sweat, and they're gonna have to be like real cheesy. I don't know if they can do that 3 weeks in a row, Joe. To be honest with you, I think, like I said, even with the win, I don't know if they'll even still make the wild card. Honestly,
I didn't predict the Colts to be this bad this season, but in the beginning of the season when Carson Wentz and I forgot their lineman's name, they had went down with these ankle injuries, and we saw like the beginning of the first 4 or 5 games of the schedule. I predicted it. I knew they wasn't going to be competing. I really didn't. This was a really bad schedule for them.
Yep, and it's only getting worse.
Getting worse.
So let's all expect the Bills probably win today's game. The Colts, really, to me, fall completely out of contention at this point. And again, Bills need that win just to keep them red-hot Patriots at bay. Now, coming up next, we are going to preview what I think might be the game of the week. It is the Dallas Cowboys. It is the Kansas City Chiefs. Before we get into that game, our very own Steve Risser from Sports Talk with R&J has a profile on Dak Prescott.
Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Risser, the host of Sports Talk with R&J, and this week my player profile is on Dak Prescott. Dak is one of the top QBs in the league, and he got paid like this offseason when the Cowboys rewarded him with a 4-year, $160 million deal. What makes him a top QB is his accuracy, his mobility, his decision-making, and most importantly, his leadership. In 2016, he took over and led the Cowboys to a 13-3 record, which was the best in the NFC that year, and he was voted to the Pro Bowl. He continued to play well after his rookie year, throwing for at least 20 touchdown passes in 2017, 2018, and 2019. He faced a setback in Week 5 of the 2020 season when he suffered an injury to his right ankle and missed the rest of the season. The question going into this year was, would Dak get back to what he is? And he definitely has. Going into Week 11, he has 20 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. And most importantly, he's the biggest reason why the Cowboys are 7-2. I expect Dak to have a big week against the Chiefs defense that has struggled this year.
Thank you, Steve Risser. Sports Talk with R&J airs Wednesdays at 1 o'clock right here on the CMG Sports Network. Now, Sander, look, you obviously are a Cowboys fan. Dak Prescott, Dak Prescott in the preseason, look, there was some talk about the shoulder, the knee, how he was feeling, how he was doing. Didn't get a lot of reps. There was a lot of concern.
Joe, real quick. I had no concerns about Dak Prescott's ankle.
Of course,
his ankle.
You didn't.
I had no concerns.
But a lot of people were talking about that. I mean, listen, you have to admit, as a Cowboys fan, at 7-2, coming into this game, a winnable game against the Chiefs in Kansas City, this is about as best case scenario as you could have possibly hoped for.
Well, but other than that loss to the Broncos, this is definitely the best possible.
You know what, though? Listen, my whole thing is after that game, seeing the way they bounced back and seeing the way they played all season.
for sure.
You throw that. I mean, listen, even the 86 Giants lost 2 games. You're gonna throw that out the window. You're gonna have a couple of stinkers. It's just part and parcel to an NFL season. So, to me, you throw out the 2 worst games anybody has in a season. I think that's who you are as a team. So. And let's do that then. This is 7-1 Dallas team if you throw that Denver thing out the window. They've hit 40 points 3 times. We know how good that offense is. I think the shocking part for most people is that defense was atrocious last year. It's not great, But my goodness, it's got to be the most improved defense from how bad it was to how effective it's been.
I mean, Joe, you go from last to anything. You go from last to 31st. That's a big improvement. So, I mean, but yes, Joe, I was one of those guys that said, listen, I'm not asking for a top 5, a top 10 defense. If Dan Quinn can come in and keep us middle of the pack 10 to 15, I feel like the Dallas Cowboys can make some noise. And sure enough, right on cue, Dallas is playing top 15, top 10 defense. And look at the record. It just goes to speak volumes of how talented this team is, and with the right coaching can put them in the right spots. Dallas right now is clicking on all cylinders right now. As much as every hater wants to point it out and look at the past history, look at this season so far. They're top 5 in offense, in offense efficiency. The last time they led top 5 in offensive efficiency was in 95, and they won the Super Bowl that year. So if anything, we're going back to what brought us those championships, and it's paying dividends. We built that offensive line. We got the receivers. I remember when Des Bryant went away that season, and we were trying to get receivers from the street. We didn't do so well. We managed to get Amari Cooper, and that turned dividends for Dak, because look at how well he's been playing so far. I know he's out this game, but we got Michael Gallup coming back. CD is playing top quality receiver, and our tight ends are playing really well. And how can I forget to mention that running game that we got, that two-headed monster in Zeke and Pollard? The Bills wish they had that, because if the Bills had that, they'd be a legit Super Bowl contender, no doubt about it. But still, listen, guys, this game is very iffy. And the reason why I said it, because I'm one of those realistic Cowboy fans that doesn't scream Super Bowl every year, doesn't matter what. I can see that this year we still have to make the playoffs, and we still have to see what we do in the playoffs for me to be like, hey, we here. We're getting there. For me, as the Cowboys, we're getting there. This is one of those games that you can add to the list of, hey, we actually have beat some quality teams. And starting with the Chiefs, a Super Bowl champion, been to the Super Bowl 3 of the last 3 years. This is that you can't get no better than the Chiefs. I know they haven't been playing as well as everybody used to seeing them. They still are the Super Bowl Chiefs. They still have won 2 of the last 3 games. And last game was a complete blowout. They blew out the Raiders. A lot of them are saying that Mahomes is back, and I could kind of see that. But the reason why I think the Cowboys are going to win this game is because the Cowboys have something that the Chiefs don't, and that's a defense. Straight up. I believe that the Chiefs are going to fall 1 or 2 times to this defense, whereas the Cowboys, they're going to run up and down all over this defense. I mean, Swanson out there in the corner, I know we don't got Cooper, but Michael Gallup is no snooze. He's no bum to be just taken lightly. I feel like the Cowboys will do enough to get the dub. I just don't see if the Chiefs, with that type of offense that we already know, we love seeing Mahomes sling the ball. He does lead the league in interceptions, and we do have a league leader in interceptions.
Does Diggs grab one today?
If I'm going to put my money on it, I take the plus. I'll take the plus on Diggs. Because it's Mahomes throwing the ball. Like, it's not like it's not Aaron Rodgers. It's not Brady. It's Mahomes. Mahomes doesn't give 2 shits who it is covering any of his receivers. I think Diggs will get one, and that one might be the one that determines the game, because I think the Dallas Cowboys will be able to get more stops on the Chiefs than the Chiefs are going to be able to stop the high-powered offense of the Cowboys. You said it. The Cowboys have scored 40-plus points a couple times this season already, and I don't think 3 times. I don't think the Chiefs are going to slow them down. Granted, the Chiefs' defense the past 2 weeks has been playing better. Like, around this time of the year is when the Chiefs have been playing better defense. It's what led to those Super Bowl runs. But I don't think they've played a team so far like the Dallas Cowboys that can beat you throwing the ball, beat you running the ball. And if you're feeling froggy on offense, they can beat you defensively. Micah Parsons is a definitely lead runner for Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie Defensive Player of the Year. And Trayvon Diggs is making his case for Defensive Player of the Year. He might not win it, but he's making a damn sure good case. So right now, the Dallas Cowboys are exactly where they need to be. Don't fall under the hype. Go in there, handle your business, and walk out of here 8-2 with the dub, fighting for the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Pride.
You lucky.
I was on Twitter, and I just saw a Celtics thing. It was kind of funny. They have, like, the past 2 days they've been on a roll. They were when the Celtics beat the Lakers. They when Dennis Schroeder was talking, they said, "And not playing well, 44 mil."
Celtics.
And I chuckled a little bit. And then they kind of did the same thing with Marcus Smart with like loved by everyone. So it kind of made me chuckle. I got the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs right now, their defense has been rolling. And my thing with the Chiefs is this is going to be a test. The past couple weeks, their defense has been stepping up. A lot of people have been saying it's just, the team that they're playing are dog water, right? I didn't know the Raiders were horrible, but whatever. This might be a test. Can they, can they continue it? Or is it just what, all the people out there who have no idea what they're talking about saying, oh, it's just the team they're playing. I think Patrick Mahomes, he's fine. I just think it was just a case of him being Carson Wentz. He understood the defense was atrocious, and he was trying to do way too much. I get why he was trying to do way too much. I mean, with that offense, I don't blame him. I don't. If I was Patrick Mahomes, maybe I would. If I had all his God-gifted ability, maybe I would try to do too much. Maybe, but I think their defense is clicking, and I think this is just them kind of going in the right direction. I'm hoping that this is legit. We will find out tonight whether or not it is legit, or if it's not. It remains to be seen. As of right now, I'm going to say that that they are going the right direction. And again, this Chiefs defense, they don't have to be phenomenal. They just got to be opportunistic. They just got to play defense the way the Tennessee Titans are playing defense. Just opportunistic. Don't do nothing crazy. Don't give up. Don't be putting Patrick Mahomes in a position where he has to throw the ball 50 plus times and he has to average literal Hall of Fame numbers just to keep you in the game. As long as the Chiefs defense don't do that, they're going to have a chance. They will. Now, whether or not this defense will do it remains to be seen. Because this year they have been horrible to the point they got Honey Badger playing corner sometimes. And that's again, you got your safety playing corner. So again, they are clicking. I'm gonna assume that they're doing something right, that the coaching is clicking for them. I'm gonna assume that for now. Let's see what happens if after this week they end up taking a flaming L. Then honestly, we might have to get Kansas City Chiefs out of any type of Super Bowl contention, because if no disrespect, but Patrick Mahomes, I understand, not any quarterback can do this. I get it. But if that offense cannot carry that defense and the defense is weighing them down that much, if I'm the Chiefs, I'm thinking about wrapping it up and saying, you know what, it is what it is. We're chilling, whatever we got next year. At this point, let's start focusing defensively and let's see on who are the guys who got to go, who are the guys we want to stay, who are the on the fence guys that might have potential, but we don't really know. They're going to have to do something because, I did not expect – look, I knew this defense was going to be bad. I didn't expect them to be this bad. I didn't expect them. It's to the point where people aren't afraid of the Chiefs anymore. If you look at the past couple of years, if you play the Chiefs, it don't matter if it was an Arrowhead or if it was in your stadium. People were actually genuinely terrified of the Chiefs. And this year, the Detroit Lions will probably give them a run for their money, man. That's the fear factor is go. By the way, Joe, I'm saying this here. For the rest of the season, I'm saying the Lions are going to win their games. I want to be able to be right one time, right? I just want the Lions to hold it down one time for me. So for the rest of the year, I'm saying Lions. I got the Lions to beat the Browns. I don't really believe it, but I'm going to pick it because if it happens, I'll be hyped. But
I love it.
This defense has been horrible, and they've been trending. We'll see. Are they trending in the right direction because they're actually trending? Or have they been kind of lucky getting some bad teams, even though I don't think the Raiders are bad, but a lot of people kind of want to clump them in there. We'll see, but, that remains to be seen. But like I said, if their defense can't hold it down, they're going to have to blow it up. And they going to have to – I'm talking about defensively, not offensively. Because offensively, you have it all. But defensively, they're going to have to start thinking about, who's going to be here and who's not. Because I'll be honest, outside of Honey Badger, you can make a case for almost everybody, if we're going to be honest. So – but,
I think the Chiefs are in trouble here. I think this is definitely going to be a loss. Obviously that division is pretty wide open. I've been saying for a little while now, I think the Chargers end up winning that division. And I'll say this about the Raiders. I think the wheels have finally fallen off the bus with that team. I just think
off the car.
You can't. I mean, every week off the car. That's funny. Every week you're dealing with just another. I think that game against Kansas City, and I actually put money down on the Raiders. I thought, dude, the way this team's playing, they're inspired. I think they just ran out of adrenaline, and I just think they're going to get a hard time getting the car restarted, so to speak. That said,
I don't need something else to happen. Let the coach who took over. Oh no, let's leak his emails. Let's get him out and let's see if this sparks him up. It's weird. It's almost like the Raiders just thrive on this stuff, man. Like it's so wild.
When the Raiders are interviewing for their next legit head coach, they're going to be like, "So, what's your emails experience like? Are you are you a Gmail guy or where are we at?"
And it's kind of funny because you say that as a joke, but the next receivers that they get, they're going to have to learn from this Henry Ruggs situation and say, hey, look, we just want to make sure you don't make stupid decisions. And same thing with the corner who was threatening people when he ended up getting really – they're going to have to start, sitting guys down and talking because these are high picks that they're using. And then obviously you can't predict these things, but they're high picks that they're using, and then they have no choice but to let them go because they're just –
Dallas Cowboys are on the phone to get Damon Arnett from free agency.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Listen, I'll say this. I don't want to go off on a tangent, but for many years, I feel like the NFL has failed its rookies and its young guys just in general. We all know the car service was available to Henry Ruggs. He's not the first guy that's done something stupid like this.
Right.
You're giving in a lot of these cases, you're talking about young guys who come from poverty, who suddenly have a Ferrari and a whole lot of money, and they don't know what to do with that. And I've always felt like schools like Ohio State, Alabama, Florida State, where you're churning out professionals every year, there should be some sort of professional awareness class of some sort where you could explain to these guys what suddenly happens when fame and fortune comes your way.
I'll be honest with you, bro. The school shouldn't have that. I think the league should have that. Like, how they have the rookie training camp? I feel like that's something they need to implement in there so that way everyone can get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 1,000%. But for lack of the NFL having a million years to have done this and never do it, my thought is, listen, if I'm going to Alabama, right?
They're offering students now money too. So.
I'm Jalen Hurts. I'm Tua. I'm Mac Jones. Whoever I am, I go to Alabama. What am I here for? Am I here for the psychology degree you're just going to hand me,
no.
or whatever physical education, whatever degree you're going to give me? What is my job here? Yeah. I'm here to play professional football. You know it, and I know it.
Especially
and if there's going to be
students,
dude, if there's going to be a dozen of us all going to the pros, give us a class of some sort, something for credit.
Aren't these students going in there now and getting paid as well? Like I've heard a few college football players getting like a few $1 million already. Like, aren't these kids getting paid now as well?
Well, that's the plan. Who knows how or when that's going to happen? But it's not even about getting paid. I'm not worried about them getting paid. I'm worried about the ones who are going from. Dude, again,
from
what are you going to pay?
Poverty to millionaire. Right. No, I hear you.
Straight up. I mean, whatever you pay these kids for playing, it's not going to be a lot. It's just going to be a nice stipend. It's something that they never had before. I don't know if you guys know this, but if you are on a college football team, you can't even get a job.
Nope.
Right.
You're not allowed to work and earn money, which is what?
Which, I mean, the thing is like, because I've heard about that and I looked at because I'm like, that makes no sense whatsoever. But their logic is, and I kind of get it, is the fact that since they take care of everything, there's no point for you to go get a job and put yourself at risk.
So again, I'm here to play football.
Right. I'm
going pro. It's on you then. Prepare me for the next level.
And it's true.
Let me tell you something. Whichever college program does that first is going to see a huge boost in recruitment.
100%.
And it's going to be it's probably going to be Alabama and the SEC that does it first. I just think that's a really good idea. I mean, they're churning out a dozen professionals a year from Alabama.
At least.
And again, and I don't even mean to make this about Henry Ruggs, because again, to me, it's not.
No,
this
it's
has been
about
going on
just
since
general.
Ray Caruth in the
It's in
90s.
general.
Yeah, it's deeper than that.
They got to take care of these guys. They've got to teach these guys. You know, there were guys in the league like Tank Williams was a great one with the Bears. He used to try to keep all the rookies. He had a mansion with a dance club in his house. And he used to tell these guys, bro, nothing good happens after 3 a.m.
The NBA does that, Joe.
Be at my house. Let's party at my house, club, the ladies, the jacuzzi.
But
you're not gonna get that on every team. You're not gonna have a veteran on every team looking out for these guys. And I think at the end of the day, it ends up being a shame. So just something I would like to see. Let's get back to talking football. You just mentioned, Sander, the best record in the NFC. Dallas vying for that today.
Yeah.
This is an interesting game in Minnesota. We're talking about a Packers defense that's maybe the best that Aaron Rodgers has ever had. You've got a Vikings team that comes in 4-5, just 2-2 at home. Aaron Rodgers in 13 career games against the Vikings, 24 touchdowns, 3 picks. He's 9-4. And yet everywhere I turn and look, someone's telling me that the Vikings are going to beat Aaron Rodgers and company today. Pride, for the life of me, I don't see it. Help me out here.
I will tell you this right now, and out of pure experience, Minnesota Vikings fans are some of the most delusional, absurd fans, but since they don't really win, no one talks about them.
Damn, more than Cowboy fans?
That's really it. They don't get talked about because they just lose.
Yeah, bro, because they haven't been really that great or competitive since the 70s.
Exactly right. Like the greatest claim to fame currently, like within like last few years, was Teddy Bridgewater and the whole Case Keenum thing, right? And then the Minnesota Miracle or whatever they want to call it, that whole thing. But ever since then, they look, for some reason I will give the Vikings credit in this aspect. When it comes to the Packers, they do get up. They do get up, and they do make Aaron Rodgers have to play. So I will give them credit in that aspect where they don't, like Aaron Rodgers, there's some games that show notice that he kind of just coasts. Where he's kind of like, look, I don't really care. I'm out here just to get the win, and it is what it is. The Vikings have this weird thing of making him kind of have to not coast, like to step up. So I do get that from that point. It's Aaron Rodgers, though. Come on. Let's just be honest, bro. I mean, the Green Bay Packers, offensively, they're better. Defensively, they're better. They're top 5 in both. Special teams, they're better. Coaching, they're better. Mike Zimmer needs to get fired. I don't know how he still has a job. Him and Nagy, I swear to God, got news from somebody to somehow still have jobs. The fact that they got jobs gives me hope. It gives me hope. I'm telling you right now, because if I was a coach, I say this all the time. My play card, straight Madden 22. Swear to God, that's it. I'm out there and I'm gonna be like, hey, yo, Jefferson, you ever heard of play Dagger? And that's all we doing, running the same play over and over again. Like, but top to bottom, the Packers are just better. I don't know why people think they have a legitimate chance. I mean, I'll give them a 10% chance, and then before it would have just been a 5. I'm gonna give them a 10% chance because the last couple weeks in the NFL has been wild. I mean, we saw the Jags and the Bills. We saw the Washington football team and Tampa. We've seen stuff like this kind of happen, so I will give them a 10% chance. But to like bolster about it and say it proudly with your chest, like, yeah, we have a legitimate chance. Like, I mean, I don't see it. I really don't. I mean, again, Aaron Rodgers also this year hasn't really been playing like not that he's trash or anything, but he's kind of just like, look, I don't care if we win this year because we all know I'm leaving. Like, it's almost as if, like, that's the vibe I'm low-key getting from him. And by the way, have y'all noticed how somehow Tom Brady looks younger than Aaron Rodgers? That's what stress does to you, man. That's what stress does to you. But, yeah, I will give Minnesota a little bit of a chance. I'll give them a 10% chance. But, I mean, like I said, Vikings fans, they're delusional. They are delusional, and no one really talks about them because they don't win. So we kind of just ignore them, just say, whatever, we don't care. You're Minnesota. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? But I'm telling y'all, they're one of the most delusional, absurd. If y'all ever talk to a Minnesota Viking fan, ask him who the best quarterback in the league is. And you already know who the answer finna be. I've had to leave chats because someone tried to tell me Kirk Cousins is better in every metric than a prime Aaron Rodgers. I've had them tell me that, Joe. Look.
Kirk Cousins is what I refer to as a bum. That's it. I've been calling him a bum for 5 or 6 years now. I think Kirk Cousins.
You really think so?
Kirk Cousins is the Paul Acosta of football. He's a guy with all the skill and talent in the world. And when it comes to the game, I don't see it. He doesn't utilize his best skills. And I can't.
You are disrespectful. Joe, stop playing with the man.
I can't. Dude, this is a guy. Listen,
you're not wrong.
This is a guy who'll throw for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. I flip over to that game like, oh, God, Kirk Cousins having a day. It's overtime. All right, let's see. Immediately throws a pick. Immediately. Dude, a couple weeks ago, Lamar Jackson handed the Vikings the ball in overtime. And Kirk Cousins was like, do you want this right back? I'll just get right back to you. And they lost the game.
Oh, my
They're terrible.
Isn't he like 0 and something in primetime games too? So
yes, because he's a bum. That's what bums do in primetime.
Look, Joe. I'm gonna make this quick. Vikings have no damn chance in this game. No damn chance. And I get it. It's a divisional game, so they do get up. But I think the Packers right now are playing on a level, on a championship caliber level. This is the first time that Aaron Rodgers has had this type of caliber team since his last championship team. And I'm talking about defense, legit defense. And they don't even have some of their best players defensively back in Alexander. But this kid, Devondre Campbell, who leads the team in tackles, he's stepped right into that linebacker spot. I remember the years that they didn't have Blake Martinez. When Blake Martinez left, that defense took a real big toll, and you could tell it was very noticeable on that Packers defense. But they've managed to step up this season. That defense has played very well, and they're only going to get better when their best corner, one of the best corners in the league, comes back. And their offense, that running game is crazy. You got Aaron Jones, you got C.J. Dillon. C.J. Dillon got.
By the way, no Aaron Jones today. He is out for the day. Jones.
And guess what? And that's going to segue into my point. Aaron Jones and C.J. Dillon. Aaron Jones is the lead back, but can you believe that with like 29 less carries, Dillon only has like 90 less rushing yards than Aaron Jones? The kid is a monster. He's one of those big running backs, one of those running backs that you don't like trying to tackle third, fourth quarter because they're like, you think they're getting tired, but they're not tired. And I think the Packers are just going to rout. It could go either way for the Packers because the Packers, I feel like they can decide how this game goes. They can blow them out if they want, or they can beat them respectfully, beat down 24-zip, 24-3. That's how talented this Packers team is right now. I think the Packers are just going to straight up rout and run the Vikings. It's not a game. It's not a game.
Packers offense, 19th in passing, 19th in rushing efficiency, 19th in scoring, and only 25th in red zone efficiency. It's been a rough go the last couple of weeks. They're coming off the 17-0 win over Seattle, a game in which Aaron Rodgers did not throw a touchdown for just the second time in his entire career. But
it wasn't the first time like in his rookie year or some shit like that.
Yes,
it was like
yes.
real early in his career.
Really, yeah.
He's going to turn it on.
I feel like this is a get-right game for them. And like you said, this is a team where Aaron Jones is out, C.J. Dillon is in, and you're not going to skip much of a beat in that respect. I do think the Packers will definitely take care of business today. And they're going to need to because I think they need to be able to keep pace with your Dallas Cowboys. Now, an interesting matchup in the AFC. We kind of touched on these guys a minute ago. To me, one of these guys, again, this is one of those games where I think the loser of this game is in trouble. I think the loser of this game here is going to have their work cut out for them going forward. We sort of already touched on the Raiders. the Ruggs situation, the emails, the new coach, and everything going on there. I'd like to focus in, if we could, this segment just on the Bengals, because the way Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow were hooking up, this defense on Keys to the City several weeks ago, we thought this team was for real at 5-2.
Yeah.
Everything about this team seemed to be trending in the right direction. Now they're 5-4, and having lost to a blowout to the Browns, a bad loss to the Jets. Sandra, I'll start with you. Which Bengals team is the real Bengals? I kind of felt like this was a good bounce back year for them, kind of getting ready to. I didn't think they were ready for the big time. I kind of bought it a few weeks ago, but where they are now after these losses, I'm like, maybe 2022, Burrow and the Bengals get it right.
Yeah, you thought they are who we thought they were, basically. That's what you thought. I hear you 100%. And I'm there with you a little, Joe. I still think that the Bengals are the second best team in that division, because I believe that the Ravens are still number one. I think the Steelers are firmly in third place, depending on what that whole quarterback situation. And the Browns have fallen all the way down to where the Browns are used to being in the bottom of that division. So I think the Bengals they were trending to be a year early, but I still think they're right on track now. I think that they might fight for the wild card position because they are talented enough. That hookup with Chase and Burrow, I mean, that's up there with right now, that the way that connection is, how strong it is, that has the potential to be one of those connections that we see for like the next 5-6 years. It's really electric, those two. But, Mixon has been playing a little banged up recently. I think all this time off, I felt like he's been able to get right. And not only for my fantasy football purposes, but I feel like for this team's success, it definitely hinges on the running back play as well, because Joe Mixon is a guy. He's one of those guys, he can do it running, he can do it catching the ball. So he brings an element to Joe Burrow that elevates Joe Burrow and this offense. And this offense does help this defense, because the Bengals are one of those top 10 teams in time of possession. They hold the ball for a long time, and that helps the defense very, very well. So, I think the Bengals are going to get right with this game. I don't see the Raiders trying to make it competitive. Remember, the wheels are falling off as we speak. Every week it's something with them. The Bengals, I feel like they got right with this time off. And I want to talk about the Bengals maybe 2 weeks from now, after their bye, to see exactly, because I believe that after this week and next week, we'll see exactly where the Bengals are going to be at.
The Raiders, surprisingly, rank in the bottom 5 in rushing yards per game at 85 and yards per carry at 3.7. Just goes to show how important Jacobs is to that team. And boy, when he's not healthy and feeling right, boy.
Drake.
Yes, sir. Makes things so much tougher. Anyway. So Bengals Raiders, somebody falls to 5-5 at the end of today. And like I said, I feel like if it's the Raiders, this might end up division. I think it's going to be too much if the Raiders lose. I think that you could pretty much cross the Raiders off the list.
And both of these teams are in like the toughest divisions in football right now. Legit. Like both of these teams, the Bengals are in a crazy division, tough division.
All right. Before we finish this thing up, we'll still do Giants-Bucs, and then we'll just do a quick fantasy around the league so you know who's in, who's out. Jared's Puncher's Chance, the NFL edition. Jared Jones from Throwing Jabs, excellent when it comes to the gambling. Jared says, parlay this: Colts, Cowboys, Steelers today.
Yeah.
And round robin with the Seahawks, the Saints, and the Chiefs. This dude's got it down pat.
Not bad.
You play this, you'll worst case scenario break even, best case scenario.
I think you'll win. I think you'll win with this card.
This is a really good card, so take it in. Take it for what it's worth. And a big thank you to our man, Jared Jones, for the Puncher's Chance NFL edition. If you want to win some money, Jared always says, do what I just told you to do.
I can't wait to hear Jared on the T-Bud fight.
Oh my God, dude. I mean, let me tell you something. I don't know if on throwing jabs, I literally said Crawford 10th round knockout. I then put my money where my mouth was, and I put money on Crawford with the knockout. And like you, Sander, that Bud wouldn't get knocked down.
And it's crazy too, because Porter retired.
Yeah, you know what? I gotta tell you, Porter said something brilliant after the fight. He said he's fought all the best welterweights in the world, and he thought that there was something special out there, and he wasn't sure what it was. And now he knows. It's Terrence Crawford.
Yeah. And when he said that, like, look, some people, and I'll say this real quick, then we'll move on. A lot of people who they're not high on Bud. This stamp of approval, a man literally, he basically said, I prolonged my career. I knew I wasn't going to win. I prolonged my career to fight someone special. I found that special guy, and I'm done. If that's not the biggest stamp of approval you could possibly get, I don't know.
Sean Porter gets more respect from me than Canelo, I'll tell you that.
Oh, big time. Big time. I'll tell you, Bud is my guy. He's my number one. He's and has been for years. And I think it's a shame that he's such a good guy. He's a good citizen. He's a good husband and father, and that just doesn't sell in America. And I think it's really sad because I tell you what, if you're looking for an all-American role model,
it's Bud.
It's Bud Crawford by a miracle mile. And again, to understand Terrence Crawford, the man of the human, is an exceptional individual. Bud is the alter ego you don't want to be in the ring with.
No.
And the best part about it is you'll only ever see Bud in the ring.
Yes.
Terrence Crawford is the guy outside the ring, and I think he's in the gym. Mm-hmm. And he's one of the best gentlemen in all of sports, and it's a shame that guy number one isn't the number one pound for pound guy on ESPN's list. It just goes to show how much ESPN buys and supports the BS hype of some of these clowns out there. All right, let's talk about a game that I'm super into. This game.
Joe's about to go on a whole tangent. He's like, nah, I need energy for here.
I'll save that for next Saturday, but I've got a little bit of money. I took Giants on the money line on this game. Not a lot of money, just it pays about 5 times what you're putting in. So how could you not? The New York Giants come into this game having won 2 of their last 3. Saquon Barkley's back, Galladay's back, Tony's back. The defense is still a little bit banged up. You guys know Blake Martinez out for the season. Logan Ryan, I believe, is going to miss this game due to a positive COVID test. He is vaccinated, so I think it is possible he could be back, but we're not banking on that right now. Meanwhile, and I understand this argument, the Bucs have lost 2 in a row. Brady's lost 3 in a row, twice in his career. It's probably not the right time to get a Bucs team looking to bounce back. And somebody suggested the other day, and I had to shoot this down, that maybe it's the beginning of the end of Tom Brady. If you look at the numbers, it's not. If you look at the numbers, it's totally not that.
Because the thing is, the Washington football team, though, he threw the 2 picks. Outside of that, he wasn't. It's not like he was washed or anything.
He threw for 375 and 4 touchdowns. He's fine.
Right.
It was turnovers, penalties, and struggles on 3rd down. Which
in 10 minutes with the football in the 4th quarter.
Which will do any team in. I mean, if you don't convert on 3rd down and you can't stop the other team on 3rd down, you're going to lose. I don't care who you are. Yep. You throw in some penalties, you throw in a turnover or 2, you're not going to win most NFL games when that happens. Now, the Giants' key to turning things around over the last couple of weeks has been very simple. They've eliminated turnovers. They've stopped making dumb penalties. They've converted on 3rd down, and they've stopped the other team on 3rd down. So what I'm just explaining here is what this game comes down to today. The team that doesn't turn the ball over, makes stupid penalties, and plays best on third down is the team that wins. Now, if I was going to put my actual money on a winner, it would be the Bucs all day, every day. I expect that's the kind of game the Bucs are going to play. I say week in and week out on John about the G-men, that these are the things the Giants have to do.
Okay.
When the Giants do this effectively, they win. When they don't, they don't win the games. To me, it's as simple as that. I know you guys don't necessarily care about this game the way I do.
No, I do.
I
do.
Then Riley, let me start with you.
I do immensely.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so we need to understand who the Giants are because they have been one of the boogeymans in Tom Brady's career. That have been one of the people who Tom Brady kind of do not like. Like Tom Brady, if the Giants was a person, Tequila Tom would be trying to fight him. Like that's what we're talking about. I said this last week. This Washington football team is the same Washington football team that in the wild card game of last year gave Tampa Bay a run for their money. This is that same Washington football team. So with that being said, do I think Tampa Bay is going to win? Yes. But I don't think it's going to be a blowout. Like you said, Joe, health is now starting to become a thing with the Giants, where like a lot of their offensive weapons are starting to come back. You said Tony, Kenny Golladay, and Saquon Barkley. They're all starting to come back. I have noticed the play calling is starting to get a little better, where it's not as confusing as before, where, wait, it's 3rd and 1? 3rd and 1 on our own 15. You know what? Yeah, no, let's throw it. Instead of throwing it, they're just trying to run it, get that first down, and move on. I've been seeing that lately. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. This defense, in terms of Tampa Bay, it's the same thing with the Rams. We expected so much. Like I expected them to be like both of them a top 3 defense, and like they kind of went down. Now I'm not saying they're a horrible defense, not at all, but it's not really as nice as we expected them to be. I will say this when it comes to the Giants. Learn from what Ron Rivera did. Ron Rivera knew as long as I don't give Tom Brady the ball last, we're gonna win. And he coached with the time in mind. If you watch that game, before every play, he's looking up. Okay, that's how much time I got. And then he called the play. And that's something a lot of NFL coaches don't do. They pay attention to the clock when it's too late. When it's already when all the preparation in terms of the time, that's done in like the 1st and 2nd quarter. That's where all that stuff is done. Once you start getting to the 4th quarter, and now you're trying to play with time, you're at a disadvantage. Ron Rivera from the jump was like, "Hey, yo, look, not only are we going to win time of possession, but on top of that, what like when Tom Brady gets the ball matters. I'm not giving him the ball. I'm not letting him run a 2-minute drill. What am I, stupid? I don't care if I got the best defense in the league. I'm not letting Tom Brady run a 2-minute drill. That's out of here." So he did that. If Joe Judge can do kind of the same thing, the Giants do have a legitimate chance. I'm not, like I said, obviously I heard a lot of people say that this is going to be a wash and that the Bucs are going to wreck them. And I'm like, nope. If you think that, I don't know, man. There got to be some Giants hatred deep up in you because the way this team has been clicking the past couple of weeks, I don't know. Like I said, I got Bucs. I say Bucs by 10, by like a touchdown and a field goal. I'll say that. But ain't no way. I don't expect, especially with everyone coming back healthy. I don't know. I don't see no blowout, no wash up. I don't see any of that. And Tom Brady's fine. He's fine. I don't want people saying, "Oh my God, Tom Brady, he threw 2 picks." That's fine. That's fine. He had one bad quarter because he threw both those picks in the 1st quarter. Tell me about the rest of the game. Oh wait, you don't want to because they completely debunks anything you got to say. But yeah, 100%. I got the Bucs, but the Giants definitely going to make this a very close game.
Yeah, no, I got the Bucs. I don't think the last time Brady lost 3 games, Bart Scott was talking about can't wait, so I don't believe that this is going to start happening now. The Bucs realize that they're also, they're fighting for a top seed in the NFC. May not get the number 1 seed, but at least a 2 or 3 seed. They would like to have at least a home game in the playoffs. I don't think they want to be one of those teams that, like last year, was on the road I don't think that this team is built to go on the road for 3 straight games and get dubs and go to a Super Bowl. This team is definitely fighting for a top seed because they realize that a lot of teams, they have when you are the Super Bowl champion, you are going to get the best shot from everybody. That's a known stat. The Bucs realize that they can't lose this game. Brady knows he can't lose this game. I mean, this has been one of his nemesis. If Brady don't lose to these Giants 2 times, we're talking about a 9-time Super Bowl champion, 8-time Super Bowl champion. The Bucs know what's on the line with this game. As much as the Giants have been struggling, I know they're getting all their guys healthy. Kadarius Toney being back healthy, that's going to be big. I think he's a real special player for the Giants. If the Giants are going to win, it's attacking that secondary because that's the only weakness, the only glaring weakness on the Buccaneers defense that they have. And it's because those corners are still hurt. If those corners are starting, it is a blowout. It is a wash if those corners are starting, but those corners being out they definitely hurt the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers, they definitely allow their top 5 in allowing passing yards. They're one of those teams that they give up, but they don't break. I think the Giants just right now, I know the last week they played well, but this is a championship team. This is a Super Bowl caliber team that knows they're trying to get back to the Super Bowl, and they can't be losing games like this. And Brady realizes that. So I feel like the Bucs are going to win this one convincingly, 31-14 Buccaneers.
Really? Okay. I like it. I'm not expecting much from the Giants here. This is a Bucs team that averages 31 points a game. They've been struggling the last 4 weeks. They've only been averaging 28 points per game. The Giants defense for the year has allowed about 16.5 points a game, 13 over their last 3. I feel like the Giants keep the Bucs to around 20 points. The question is, and I think you both sort of answered it, is can the Giants score more than 20 against the Bucs? Probably not. And I hate to say that, and you're right. You know what, Riley, you made some great points. The Giants offense has opened up. They're doing some different things. They're running some different plays. Coming off a bye is great. Getting guys back healthy is great. It's going to take some time to get the chemistry down for him to start syncing up with these receivers. You got to get Kenny Golladay involved in this offense. You want to find a place for Kadarius Toney. And if Saquon plays, how many carries does he get? Devontae Booker is also a little he's questionable. He's been a little bit banged up. So we don't even know what the Giants' backfield's necessarily going to look like.
Ingram
it looks
playing?
like – what's that?
Ingram going to be playing? Ingram.
Yes. Evan Ingram. Yeah. He'll be in the game, and he scored touchdowns in back-to-back games. Are we optimistic for a third straight game against a great Buccaneers set? Well, again, when you think about those linebackers that are going to be on Evan Ingram for the most part, I don't expect them to be a huge factor in this game at all. So it's going to depend on who's in the backfield. If Saquon's in it, how many touches is he good for after being out? They've been babying him anyway. He spends a lot of time when he is in the games as a decoy, which doesn't help anybody because he's a lousy blocker. So
they got to attack the secondary if they're going to win.
They've got to throw the football down the field like everybody else is doing. I brought this up on Keys to the City the other day. I mean, the Pats are now letting Mac make throws down the field a little bit. And it's been very successful. And I think, because again, look, if you're the Giants, you're going to lose the game anyway, right? Why not take some chances down the field and try to win the game?
And here's what's
nothing to lose.
And here's what's confusing about the whole Giants thing. They want to see if Daniel Jones is that guy, but then you're not giving him the opportunity to prove he's that guy. So it's like you can't sit there and say, "Well, Daniel Jones, we know you're not doing enough." And in his mind, he's like, "What do you want me to do? You guys aren't giving me the opportunity. Look, if you're gonna lose, y'all gonna lose. It is what it is.
Take the training wheels off.
Let the kid do his thing, and you'll be able to get a better estimate if he's our guy or not."
I got flack last week for saying I thought the Giants sitting on the ball in the second half against the Raiders was a stupid thing, and everybody was like, "Well, they need a win for what? For what? to lock in third place? Give me a break. I want to see Daniel Jones. I believe this guy is the Giants' future. And I want everyone else to see it. And to me, if you let this guy do what he can do, you're going to see someone who's a step or two behind Lamar Jackson on the totem pole. And that's a skill level to be. Yeah, I said it, Pride. I think if they unleash this guy, he's as fast as Lamar, and he's got a better arm. So what Daniel, you know why? You know why he trips? He trips because he's the most disrespected guy in the league. People treat him like a joke, and it doesn't help when he stumbles and falls out of nowhere. He's got to avoid that stuff. He's done. Listen, he was a turnover machine. He's got 2 turnovers this year, one of them being an interception going in a halftime. Nobody cared. That one was fine. Right. He's got it figured out. He hasn't tripped and fallen while running this year, but they've started running more design plays for him. I want to see more of it.
He got that Mark Bulger look, Joe. That's what it's a kind of a detriment to him. He looks like Mark Bulger. You can't. That's really
horrible thing to say. All right, before we let everybody go here, let's run through a quick fantasy report, kind of tell you who's in and who's out, because there's a lot of guys who are not going to be playing today. We'll start with Kyler Murray, questionable. It seems like Colt McCoy will be starting the game. Colt is also questionable, so this might very well end up in pregame warmups. The healthy guy is the one that's going to start. Put your money, though, on Colt McCoy. Lamar Jackson will be suiting up more than likely. It's about 50-50 right now. He's been ill. We missed some practice during the week. Yep. Tyler Huntley on standby if need be. Roethlisberger will be starting. He's off the COVID list. Jared Goff is out. I know people are excited about that. Tim Boyle makes his debut. Coach Dan Campbell thinks this guy might be the real deal. I say I doubt it. Zach Wilson is listed as doubtful. He will not play. Joe Flacco will make the start against Miami. Mike White will serve as the backup, and the reason being,
he's not good.
He sucks.
What it is.
Yes, Listen,
he's like David Sims from Texas, from Houston, Texas. Like, yo, you're not good. Like,
we brought Joe Flacco in to face the blitz against Miami, because Mike White can't, is basically how you read that.
It's kind of funny. He said real quick, he was like, oh, yeah, I felt like I should have been a first-round pick.
Number one.
And then he said number 4 picks. I'm like, did you not learn from Justin Fields how the game was slow and he got cracked? Like, the game will catch you.
Yeah. Don't be arrogant. You had one good game, you clown. All right, let's take a look at the running backs. Alvin Kamara is out for today. Mark Ingram had 18 touches last week. Expect more of the same. I told you already, Aaron Jones is out. A.J. Dillon gets to start. James Robinson is expected to play and to start. He was very limited in practice this week. Clyde Edwards-Helaire will be suiting up, probably starts the game. Expect a soft touch count, whatever that means. Well, I tell you what that means. Under 10 touches, don't start him in fantasy. Same thing with Miles Sanders of the Eagles. He's off the list. Don't expect a ton out of him. Saquon, same deal again. Gary Brightwell, now they're saying, might end up starting this game with both Booker and Barkley listed as questionable. Nick Chubb is back. Expect him to have a starting role with limited amounts of carries. Elijah Mitchell, doubtful. Jermichael Hasty is out. It looks like Jeff Wilson Jr. It's a Jeff Wilson Jr. sighting. I will tell you this. If you've got him on your team, start him, because I guarantee 110 yards and 2 touchdowns.
They hate Trey Sermon. They will not start Trey Sermon for nothing.
Latavius Murray is questionable. Looks like Devontae Freeman probably gets the start in that one. Justin Jackson, questionable. McNichols is out for the Tennessee Titans. And Jalen Richard is listed as questionable. Didn't practice much this week. So guys you definitely want to avoid. Receivers, Hopkins, DeAndre, out. Hollywood Brown, Ravens, out. Amari Cooper, COVID, out. Antonio Brown, all sorts of problems. He's out.
They're labeling his ankle this time.
And facing accusations that he went out and secured himself A fake vaccination ID card.
Just the fact that you can believe it just shows you that Antonio Brown's credibility right now is shot.
It really is.
Man, Antonio Brown, boy, just always in the news. Always in the news for the wrong reason.
Hold on. So it's official. Lamar Jackson is out. So
Lamar is out.
Yeah,
all right.
So he's not playing.
Huntley making the start today. If you've got Lamar in your starting lineup, get him out.
I gotta do that. I gotta do that as soon as we get out of here.
There you go.
The Bears are beating the Ravens.
Sterling Shepard, Giants. He is also out for this week. Allen Robinson is doubtful. He didn't practice at all this week. You're definitely not going to want him in your starting lineup. Alan Lazard, doubtful. Donovan Peoples-Jones is questionable. Anthony Schwartz of the Browns is also out, as is Ty Montgomery of the New Orleans Saints, and just a couple of tight ends here. Jeff Swain is out. Ricky Seals-Jones, who I picked up to take over for Logan Thomas, who's on the IR, he's out. Rob Gronkowski is questionable. He did not practice yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like he probably will not start, might not even suit up. Cameron Brate and O.J. Howard will handle most of the duties. Sander, who do you have this week who should be starting on our fantasy teams?
All right, so at quarterback, I do have Dak Prescott, because I feel like Dak Prescott against that soft Chiefs defense, he's going to light it up. So if you got Dak Prescott on your team, make sure he starts. At the running back position, hold on, I'm just getting situated real quick. At the running back position, I have T.J. Dillon. And the reason why I have T.J. Dillon is because that kid's a monster. And stepping into Aaron Jones' role, he's not going to miss a beat like we touched on it earlier. And at the wide receiver position, I'm going to add another Cowboy, and it's going to be CeeDee Lamb. With Amari Cooper being out, I feel like CeeDee Lamb is going to fit right into that number one spot. I think he's going to eat. It's going to be Dak. I want you to put the stack with Dak and CeeDee on your lineup and get those extra points. So that's who I got. I got Dak, I got T.J. Dillon, and I got CeeDee Lamb.
I like it. All right, well, that is going to do it for this week. A big special thank you to Sander Sanchez for always appreciate you coming on, and to Raily Valdez Barrett from Prideful Takes. Thank you, A, for your team profile on the Patriots, and again, thank you so much for joining us on this week's show. Big thank you to Steve Risser from Sports Talk with R&J for his Dak Prescott player profile. To Jared Jones from Throwing Jabs for always helping us out with our picks. We certainly do appreciate that. That is going to do it for this week. We will be back next Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Once again, we'll preview all of the biggest games around the NFL. One more time for Sander and Riley. I'm Joe McGuire. We'll catch you next week on the CMG Sports Pregame NFL Show.